The town of Dustwood lay like a forgotten memory in the shadow of Sagebrush Ridge. It wasn't much to look at, just a main street lined with weather-worn saloons, a leaning general store, and a church steeple that had seen better days. But for those who called it home, Dustwood held one unspoken rule: never wander beyond the ridge after dark. There were whispers, of course, stories passed from generation to generation, tales of an old gunslinger named Ezra Flint who had disappeared into the ridge decades ago, never to be seen again. Folks said he'd gone mad chasing after gold that shimmered like a mirage on the horizon. Others claimed he had stumbled upon something far more dangerous, an ancient spirit, older than the land itself, that granted wisdom at a price no man could afford. It was one of those nights when the air hung heavy, the kind that made even the bravest ranch hands double-check their locks when a young drifter rode into town. His name was Caleb Royce, a lean, sharp-eyed wanderer with a colt on his hip and a past he didn't care to share. He stopped outside the dusty Spur Saloon, his boots kicking up clouds as he dismounted. Inside, the saloon was alive with a tune from a battered piano and the murmurs of card games. Caleb's arrival drew a few glances, but nothing lingered. Drifters were as common as tumbleweeds in these parts. He ordered a drink, sat in the corner, and listened. "Ridge been restless lately," said a grizzled old man at the bar, his voice gravelly as desert wind. "Heard coyotes yappin' like they'd seen the devil himself." "Coyotes don't scare easy," a rancher replied. "Maybe it's Flint's ghost keeping the ridge his own." Caleb's ears perked up. "What's this about a ghost?" he asked, his tone casual. The saloon quieted just a hair. The old man squinted at Caleb. "Ain't a ghost so much as a reckoning. They say Flint didn't die up there. He's just waitin'. Folks who go looking for him don't come back the same if they come back at all." That night, Caleb didn't rent a room in town. Instead, he saddled his horse and rode toward Sagebrush Ridge under a sky dusted with stars. Something had drawn him to this forsaken stretch of land, a feeling deep in his gut that the answers he'd been searching for were hidden beyond the ridge. The trail was rugged, flanked by jagged rocks and dry scrub that whispered in the wind. As Caleb climbed higher, the air grew colder, the silence heavier. At the ridge's summit, he saw it, a lone oak tree, gnarled and ancient, standing sentinel over the land. Beneath it, the faint glow of a campfire flickered. Sitting by the fire was a figure, broad-shouldered, wrapped in a tattered duster, and wearing a hat that shadowed his face. Caleb approached slowly, the crunch of gravel underfoot breaking the silence. "Evenin'," the figure said, his voice deep and calm. "Name's Caleb Royce," Caleb replied. "And you?" The figure lifted his head. His face was rugged, weathered by time and the elements, but his eyes were sharp and piercing. "Ezra Flint." Caleb froze. "You're supposed to be dead." "Supposed to be," Ezra said with a wry smile. "But the ridge has a way of keepin' folks like me around." Caleb hesitated, then sat across the fire. "Why are you here? What's this ridge hiding?" Ezra leaned back, his gaze fixed on the flames. "Wisdom," he said. "The kind that cuts deeper than any knife. Folks come here wantin' answers, thinkin' they can cheat fate. But the ridge doesn't give without tackin'. You want to learn its secrets, you best be ready to lose something in return." Caleb's jaw tightened. "I've got nothing left to lose." Ezra chuckled, a low, dry sound. "That's what they all say." For hours, the two men talked, the fire crackling between them. Ezra spoke of the ridge's ancient power, how it had whispered promises to him long ago, promises of fortune and wisdom. But the cost had been steep. His life tethered to the land, unable to leave, forever haunted by the knowledge he'd gained. Caleb listened, his mind racing. He had wandered the West for years, searching for meaning, for a purpose that seemed always out of reach. Now he was faced with a choice: turn back and live with the emptiness, or step into the unknown and risk everything. "The choice is yours, Caleb. Cross the ridge and you'll find what you're looking for. But know this, what you gain won't fill the hole inside. It'll just change its shape." Caleb stood, his heart pounding. "And if I stay?" Ezra's gaze softened, a hint of sorrow in his eyes. "You'll carry that fire in your chest till it burns you out." Without another word, Caleb mounted his horse and rode toward the horizon, the ridge fading behind him. He didn't look back, but the echo of Ezra's words lingered in his mind. A constant reminder that wisdom wasn't found in answers but in the courage to keep asking questions. Years later, travelers passing through Dustwood would tell stories of a drifter with sharp eyes and a haunted soul who rode the west, leaving a trail of unspoken wisdom in his wake. And on quiet nights, when the wind whispered through the sagebrush, they'd swear they heard Ezra Flint's voice, carried on the air like a ghostly echo, warning them of the price of knowledge. For the ridge never truly let go of those who sought its secrets.